Aloha friends! Today we'll be making an Irish stew, getting ready for the St. Patrick's Day holiday. So we have some of our ingredients here, lots of vegetables. The meat we're using is deer meat. Where we live here in the South, there's a lot of deer. There's a lot of friends that are hunters that have blessed us with some meat. So we're going to go ahead and use that in this dish. You could use beef or lamb. Traditionally, I believe it's beef or lamb. And so we've got some of our equipment here that we'll have ready to use. The first thing we're going to do is prep our vegetables. Then we'll get back here to cook. So we'll go ahead and do that now. Sure to separate your layers of leeks because it can get really dirty there. So we've got those vegetables washed, and now we're going to just start getting all our vegetables peeled and sliced. You've seen our other videos. We usually put our onions and our vegetable bits aside to make some stock. It is about time for me to do that. You get this in a separate bowl. This recipe has different stages in which the vegetables get cooked. So I'm going to try to follow that as closely as possible. That's why I have a few bowls handy so I can keep that straight. Okay, just throwing vegetables all over the place here. All right. So we're going to get that wiped off and start prepping the rest of our vegetables. So here is a parsnip that we'll be doing. It looks a lot like a carrot. It's a root vegetable. I believe in the UK, they probably use parsnips a lot more than we do here in the States. So that's part of this recipe. I don't know what it smells like. I don't remember if we've had parsnips before or not. But it's going to go into the stock. And we've got a few carrots here. Cut these ends. I'm looking forward to gardening this year. It'll be our first year here. And so carrots are on our list of things to grow. We lived more north of here, where our growing season was pretty short, as I've been learning how to garden over the last few years. And carrots, I've tried growing them. They sometimes turned out and most of the times they didn't. So I keep practicing till I get a good routine. So that's peeled. Okay, now that that is put together, we're gonna cut up our vegetables. I'm gonna make mine more chunky. I'm not sure if it's the right size. It says to dice in the recipe. We're gonna go with that size there. This one's a little bit bigger. Watch your fingers when you're chopping. Keep them far, far away. That way is sharp. I'm going to cut the parsnip similarly to our carrot. It is a little more firm than the carrot. And now for our leeks. It looks washed really well. Cut the end off there. Okay. We're gonna get that cleaned up. And then the last vegetable we're gonna do is our potatoes. Okay. Get our potato peeled here. It's about 3 of them, and we're gonna cut them probably into bite-sized pieces to have in our stew. I'm really looking forward to this stew. You know, a stew is great because you can use a variety of meats or no meat at all. You can use a variety of vegetables, more or less. And so you can really individualize, specialize your stew for what your family likes. Since it's just the 2 of us, we're pretty basic and it's really simple. Okay, get our potatoes put together, ready for the stew. Trying to make these as uniform as possible. We're going to get that into our last bowl. So now that we have everything prepped and ready to go, I've got my stove on and we're going to get the stew put together. I'm adding mushrooms. We love mushrooms in our beef stew, so I'll be adding some mushrooms to the mix also. To our pot that's already hot, we'll be adding some oil. Then we'll get our meat in there to sear. This is usually when I add a bit of salt and pepper, just to get it right onto the meat. I'm going to give that a stir so that we can brown all sides of the meat and let that cook for a little longer. So the meat is mostly done, so we're going to get it into our clean bowl. We're going to set our meat to the side, add a little more water to our pot. Then add in our onions so that we can soften those. So that we'll add some garlic. Let that cook for a few minutes. Very aromatic at this point. Love the smell of ginger and onions cooking together. They make a good pair. Now we're going to add our leeks, parsnips, and carrots. And we're going to cook that for a few minutes. That is coming along really well. So then we'll add our bay leaves, our thyme, and our mushrooms. And cook that together for a few minutes. Now it's time to add our potatoes. Smells so wonderful. Then we're going to add back our meat. Now we're going to put in our beef stock. We're going to give that a stir. We'll put the lid on and let that come to a boil. Now that has come to a boil, we are going to reduce the heat and simmer it for about an hour until the meat is tender. Here we are about an hour later. That is looking really good and rich. It looks like all our vegetables are done. Our deer meat is tender. We like it a little more on the thicker side. You can stop here and serve it up if you like. But we're gonna thicken this with a cornstarch slurry. Before I do that, I'm gonna give it a taste. That tastes great. So we'll get our cornstarch slurry. It thickens it up really quickly. Let that boil for about a minute. We're gonna fish out our bay leaf because I see it right here. And we'll find the other one eventually. Right, here we have our delicious Irish stew. We will give that a taste for you. Hey, Paul! All right, I'll let you take the first bite. It's nice and hot. Came together really simply, like any other stew.
It's Irish.
I don't usually use leeks in my stew, so it's very similar. Or parsnips, for that matter.
No meat, no potato, no carrot. Gotta do it all together so it tastes right.
You're gonna spill it.
I'm gonna spill it.
It's hot. It's hot. Okay, it's my turn.
Oh, move that hot.
No, hog it up for himself. I like the veggies and the sauce. So tell everybody what you think, Paul.
Oh, it's magically delicious.
Mm. It's hot. So that all comes together really well. It's a nice, warm, hearty stew that you can have any time of the year, especially on those cold winter months. Thank you for joining us. I hope you had fun on this kitchen adventure. So go ahead, make it, eat it, and enjoy.